And welcome back to my video. So in this video we're going to be retrieving payments from our cloud firestore database. So let me just pull out the let me just show you my firebase console. Right, this is my firebase console, and then these is the database. So we are going to be getting payments, these payments that the users made. Right, okay, so let's get started. Let's not waste much of that time. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to go into our firebase constants, and then we need to provide the payments. Command V, and then it's going to be payments. Payments collection, and then let's change it to payments. Right, now that we are done, let's move into our services folder, and let's create the payments class. Okay, let me rename it payments service dot. Okay, so let's work on it. Payment service, which is going to take final firebase firestore, and then it's going to be firestore like this. All right, and then payment service. And then inside our constructor, what we need paying firebase firestore. Then now let's set firestore to firestore. Okay, like this. All right. So now let's work on the payment. So what we just need to do is we are just going to retrieve a list of payments. Payments like this, and then we're going to get payments. Okay. So it's going to be an asynchronous file like this. All right, so one thing that we forgot to do is we forgot to add the payments. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to copy this order.dat file here. Let me copy it, and then let's create a payments model. Payments.dat like this. Let's paste it, and then let's make quite some significant changes. Let's make some changes here, and then inside our payments, let's just change this to payments. Payments, and then let's also change this class to payments. Payments, and then payments. Let's also change this side. Okay, so payments from JSON. So let's let's do a couple of changes here. We need a string which is going to be our transaction ID. Transaction ID. We also need a string which is going to be required a double, which is going to be the amount. We also need the user ID, required string user ID, like this. And then yeah, now let's run flutter pub get. Let's run the build run command. Okay, now we are not yet good to go. Inside our products, let's just grab this method here. So let me just copy it and then let's paste it in our payments.dat here. It's supposed to be above the @first method, right? So it's supposed to be payments here. Payments, and then payments from JSON. And then we must change this to payments. All right, so now we are done with this model class. Let's go back to our payment service and let's work on it. Okay, so now we are just going to return. We need to create a collection reference for our payments. Collection reference get payments, which is firestore dot collection. Firebase firestore. We are not getting the collection. Get collection reference. Dot collection. Yeah, like this. The path is going to be firebase constants. Firebase constants. Dot payments. Okay, like this, and then now let's work on, we need to return payments. We need to repay payments and then the snapshots for the payments, and then we are going to map through each and every document inside our snapshot, right? So event, we are going to provide an event. And then we need an empty list for storing our payments from Cloud Firestore. Okay. Okay, so payments, which is an empty list. Let's import it. Okay, now what else do we do? So what we're going to do is we're just going to loop through each and every document inside collection event.docs, right, like this. which is payments dot add payments dot from JSON, right? And then doc dot data as is going to be a map string dynamic. And after this, what are we going to do? We are just going to return the payments. Okay, now we are done. List. There must be something which I did wrong here. Okay, let's just remove the async method. Okay, now we need to create the payments controller. Okay, let's work on the payments controller. So it's a class payments controller, which is going to extend the state notifier, and bool, and then final reference. Then we also need the payment service. Alright, let's import flutter riverpod. Okay, and then after this, let's just create a constructor for the payments controller. Okay. So what I'm just going to do here, I'm just going to pass in some variables here. Reference required payments service. Okay, now what do we need to do? Ref object is equal to ref, and then the payments payment service is equal to payments, and then let's just make sure that the default of the state is since it's a boolean, it's false. And then let's work on getting our list of payments from the service folder. And then get payments. Okay, let's import the payments. And let's return payment service.getPayments. Okay, now we are done with the payments section. So what were we doing here? So we just created this payments controller, which extends the state notifier provider, the state notifier, and then we initialize these variables, the reference and then the payment service, pass them into our constructor, and then we ended up getting these payments from the payment service. Okay, so let's create the payment payment controller provider. Which is state notifier provider, which takes in the payments controller and then boolean. let's pass in the payments controller reference. And then for the payment service, what we need to do is to inject it, right? Let's go to our payment service and then let's create a provider. Final payments service provider. This goes to provider. Reference. And then payments service like this. Firestore, which is reference dot watch. Firestore. Firestore provider. Like this. And then reference dot watch. Payment service provider like this. Okay. Now we're good to go. Now we are moving on to the user interface part, where we just display the payments, and that will be it. So now what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to go into our payments payments screen to that like this. Okay, so it's going to be a stateless widget. Then we're going to rename it payments screen like this. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is we need to extend the consumer widget, and then we need to provide in widget reference here like this, and then we need to return a scaffold, and then the bar is equal to a bar elevation 0, and then let's just provide a title text payments, and then for the style I'm just going to copy it, and then I'm just going to paste it inside. Right. That's it for the payment screen. What else do we need? We also need the elevation is equal to 0. We also need a body. Yeah, we need a body. So for the body, what I'm just going to do is first I'll initialize final payments is equal to. Okay, so if we go back to our payments controller, right, we need to create a stream provider, get payments provider, which is a stream provider. Then we need to pass in the reference object, and then final payments. This goes to reference dot watch payments provider controller dot notify like this, and then we are just going to return payments. Okay, dot get payments. Okay, so if we go back to our screen now, this goes to reference. We want to watch the get payments provider, like this. Right, now that everything is done, Now what we can do is we can say reference, we can say that payments dot when, if we have the data, and then we have error, we're going to just display the error, just a trace error text, which is error dot toString like this, and then we're just going to display a loader. Okay, this is nice. Now what we are going to do is let's return a card widget. Elevation is close to 2, and then child padding. Let's give it a padding of agency.all, which is 8. Then child, okay, we need to give the padding a child, which is going to be a column, and children. So for the column, we need main axis alignment dot start. And then cross axis alignment dot start. All right, what do we need to do now? So we need to just display a column with a text. So the text is going to be transaction ID, which is going to be a data index dot transaction ID. Okay, so I made a mistake here, so let's just remove this card here. We were supposed to return a list view dot builder, and then for the item count we just provide the data dot length, the length, and then also shrink wrap is equals to true. Okay, and then the item builder takes in the context and the index, so we just say context and then index like this. Okay, so what we can do is since we removed, we can go to our widgets, right, so that we can write modular codes, and then we can say payment item widget, because we must avoid writing many lines of code, right? Stateless widget payment item widget like this, and then we can just say payments like this, and then here we can just provide required this dot payments like this. Okay, now we can just paste in our card widget that we were working on, right? Let's paste in the card. Then let's import material.dat. So in this case, it's going to be payments. Payments.transaction ID, right? Like this. Payments.transaction ID, and then we need to style it. So to style it. Let me just grab this. And then after this, let's give it a sized box. Let's give it a height of 15. And then let's display the text, which is going to be date. And then date format .ymmd, then dot format. We want to format the transaction, the payments dot date, like this. And then for the styling, it's also the same. So I'm just going to copy it also, and I'm just going to paste it. Okay. And then we need some spacing. Constant sized box, height is 15, like this. And then let's copy this text. Let's paste it below. And then for this one, it's going to be amount. Which is equal to payments dot amount, like this. Okay, now we are done with this. Now let's go back to our payment screen. Now here what we just need to do is instead of writing over here, we can just say return payment item widget. And then here we can just provide the data index. Okay, now everything is set. Everything's okay. So let's go to our widgets, home dashboard widgets, other payments. So other payments here. Let's just copy this. So under payments, under card, let's just wrap it with the gesture detector, which is gesture detector. Okay, so let's remove the constant. It's on tap, and we will display. We want to display, once it's tapped, we want to display the payment screen like this. Okay, so now we are good to go. So let me just reload my emulator, and then let's check for ourselves, if there are any payments. Somehow I put a debugger here, so let's redo it again. Now it's not a subset in the cast, so let me check what's going on here. Exceptions. Now it's not a subset of, I think it's supposed to be user ID. payments.dat. It's supposed to be user ID. I think I made a typo there. Yeah, let me check. Yeah, it's a typo. It's supposed to be user ID. Okay, yeah, this happens a lot. Okay, so let's reload our app and then let's see payments, date time to date. There's a subtitle of string and cast. So it's supposed to be date time and then date. So let's try to okay, let's remove this. I don't think this is necessary. Okay, so let me check on my database here. There might be some few exceptions. Okay, so we made a typo here. In the database, I used time instead of date. So let's change this to time. Okay. Well, let's reload and let's see. Okay, let's see. Payments. Somehow it's not working. Let me time everything. I think there's a debugger somewhere in the payment service. Okay, let's just remove this debugger for catching exceptions. Alright, so let me just restart my emulator because I think there might be something going on here. Okay, yeah, and then now I get it. It's supposed to be time. Payments.time. Okay, so let's reload and let's see. Now it's not just a type of string in cast. I think something is called to now again. Okay. Let's try to catch all the exceptions. Let's see. Time. Somehow time is coming as date time, as string. The string type is not time. What's going on? Saying, but now there's not a subtype of string and cast. So that means that we are not getting the time from our database. Okay. I think I get what's going on here. I have some documents that are corrupted. So they are giving me time instead of, so let me just get rid of those documents. I think I refactored some changes, so some documents do have time instead of date. So let me just get rid of those documents and then, yeah. So here, what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to change to date. It's supposed to be date. So let's run flutter build run. Okay, so now let's change it back again to date. Right, so let me rerun my emulator and let's see. Yeah, now we have the transaction, as you can see, with the date on it. But I feel like we need to work on something here. Let's change the background color to white. Yeah. Let's reload. Let's check again. Okay. Yeah, we now have the transaction ID. Okay, so yeah, that was it, guys, on getting our payments from Cloud Firestore. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.